Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today I have a very special few guests on. These are some of my old clients. They're going to go through some of the results that they received after a very short period of time working together, where they started in business, how things were looking for them at the time, and some of the massive changes they made to see some monumental growth. So without further ado, introducing Versus Gravity. Boys, how are you going?
Yeah, not bad, man. How are you?
Good. Doing well. Why don't you guys start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourselves. What kind of area of fitness are you boys in? How did you guys get started?
Yeah, sure. So Sam and I, we actually met at University of Bath. What was it? Nearly 10 years ago now, right?
Yeah, 2013.
2013. So we've been friends for a long time. And yeah, we got started on this fitness journey together. So we're in the calisthenics space. So a lot of people probably don't know what it is, but to be fair, if you're on social media, then you probably caught your eye on it. So it's essentially bodyweight training, and yeah, we essentially started to coach people in that space. Nice. And now, yeah, that we're kind of we're main focus is calisthenics, but we do kind of dabble in some other stuff as well.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Tell me a little bit about where things were, situated before you guys started working with me in particular. Like, what was your growth like on social media? Even in terms of the business side of stuff, how was revenue on that side too?
Yeah, so we Versus Gravity had been about for a couple of years before we actually got in contact with you. Growth was, it was steady, but it was very slow. I think it took us like 2 years to even touch 1,000 followers because we had no idea what we were doing. And then we kind of grew relatively decently to about 4,000 quite quickly, but then it just stopped. And that's when we got in touch with you. In terms of what we were selling, low ticket coaching, online coaching, and also personal training. It wasn't really, enough to pay the bills. Whereas obviously now, yeah, we're doing a lot better.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Tell me a little bit about the old offer. What was your price point?
So it was a monthly subscription to the people who were paying online coaching services, and it was only £100 a month. But it did involve like a very hands-on approach. So weekly calls, weekly program builds, all of the sort of stuff that you would price a lot better than we did. But because we were looking at our competitors and we were like, right, well, we can't compete with people like this. We don't have the pedigree. We don't have the eminence. So we thought, right, we have to undersell ourselves.
Yeah, got you. So is that why you guys didn't increase your offer then? You just felt like you needed to stay competitive. The only way to do that was just by knocking down the price.
Well, not only that, on the side, we were building a beginner course. So kind of the classic. And we put a lot of effort into this because we wanted it to be better than everyone else's. So not only would I say our offer was actually better than most people's out there, because most people's product out there was just a PDF. The price point was $77 because we were trying to stay competitive. So you had a few big players in the space, like Fitness FAQs, theirs was $95. And then you'd have this kind of, in quotes, shitty PDFs that were $19. And we kind of wanted to price ourselves in that mid-range. And the kind of focus was to go down that, because obviously we had the online coaching before, but we never really wanted that to grow into what it's become now, just because we didn't even know that was possible. So the idea was that was just going to kind of stay on the side just to pay the bills. And then we were going to put all of our efforts into this beginner program. And that was what was going to enable us to escape the matrix. We literally didn't make a single sale. Actually, that's not true. We made one sale from a friend. And what everyone was telling us was that actually it was severely underpriced, that it probably should have been $400 or $500. But at that time, conceptually thinking about selling an online course for $300 just seemed impossible. It seemed like no one's going to pay for this money. Whereas now we know that that's probably would have been the better thing to do.
Yeah, got you. Tell me a little bit about that. I know for a lot of people, they have a similar mindset where they say, look, if people aren't going to be buying my cheaper program and it's so dirt cheap, there's no way they're going to spend $2,000, $3,000 on a program of mine. Did you guys have a similar mindset then at the time?
Yeah, absolutely.
We go on, Sam.
Yeah, I think it's the psychology of sales. It's something that we weren't kind of necessarily aware to it. We'd think, because obviously you're a new player in the space, right? You don't necessarily intrinsically, even though your product, you believe that it's better than what else is out there. Intrinsically, you think no one's going to buy from us when we've been around for a year or two. No one really knows us. We've only got 4,000 followers. Whereas you've got these big players like Chris Herrier, Fitness FAQs, Calisthenics Movement. They've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So the only way that you can steal potential clients from them, what we thought was, oh, well, will you just charge them cheaper? In the same way that there's loads of Nike shoes and Adidas out there. Trying to create a new brand to displace them is impossible. So what's the best next thing to do is just create the same thing, but just charge it cheaper.
Yeah. And since then, what do you think has been the number one thing that's transformed your mindset regarding that? Like, hey, you don't have to be the biggest player in the game to make the most amount of money.
Well,
to be honest, for me, it's the fact that the key standout moment was when you said to us, you don't want to be the Toyota, you want to be the Tesla. And if you look at market share, right, for both of those car companies, obviously Toyota dominates a lot of the Asian market. It produces most of the cars in Asia, but it's a very cheap car. Whereas obviously Tesla, there's only a select few people across the world who actually have a Tesla. Obviously it's growing now, but yeah, their product is premium. And that really stuck out to us. And it was that way of thinking that really helped us kind of move into this high ticket space. And we saw it with ourselves. Like, the key thing was that we were offering so much value in our sort of old coaching model, right? For £100 a month, we were giving so much value away. And we were thinking, right, well, we're obviously worth more than that. So why not try it? And actually going out there and seeing how people responded to the high ticket offer was, it was alarming. People actually wanted to buy it for that much.
I think that there's kind of two main points if I can add to it. One is, if you're trying to compete on price, you're going to lose out to the big players who are willing to knock their prices down as low as possible. I kind of think of the analogy that if you're selling just a random product, right, like a shower cap or something that you can just drop ship easily. If you're trying to play the price game, you're going to get murked by Amazon, because they can afford, they can ship millions and millions a year. So they'll just undercut you. You're not going to win that game. And two is that the price of your product or service is massively linked psychologically to the value of your product.
That's right.
So you could actually have, I genuinely reckon now, going back, that if we priced our beginner course at maybe $200 to $300, we would have sold more. It's the same course, and you'd think it's more money, no one's going to spend more. But for $77, intrinsically you think, oh, this can't be that good of a product. For $300, even though you might not be able to afford it, it creates a spark of interest in that person. That guy's selling a course that's $300 when every course out there is maximum $95. There must be something to it. It must be. Right. It gives them intrigue, right? If it's $50, so it's just like every other product out there.
Yeah, and as I'm sure you guys know, like, we push that to the very limit, especially when it comes to fitness coaching. Like, everyone else in the market is selling either one-off cheap programs for a couple $100 or cheap month to month, and we know that those things, they're designed intrinsically not to help you out long term, because their business model requires you to keep on coming back, to keep on paying for more and more and more, right? And then in that same field, when you pop out with a £2,000 program like your guys, it's totally different. It takes people for a spin. They need to take a step back, like, hang on a second. Yeah, why is yours like 100 times more expensive than everybody else's? And it's because on top of you guys already having packed in so much value into your old program, now at a 2,000 price point, you can afford to pack in $10,000 worth of value. It blows away the rest of the competition. And that's like, that change in mindset is the way to beat the competition isn't to undercut your price. It's to like dominate the rest of the market with value. And I think that's what you guys have done really, really well. So I think that leads me into the next section, is if that was how things were looking like before, not really getting any sales from your old programs, kind of plateaued social media growth, what do things look like now, only having working together for a couple months?
Hey, like night and day difference, like, for sure.
It's silly. It's silly how much more difference that we've had.
Yeah, like if we try and think to how we would be now, however many months it is from when we first initiated contact, not having done this, I think with reverse gravity, like we would have started getting depressed because we generally thought our beginner course, like everyone does, is going to make like shitloads of money, right? Just kind of when everyone starts drop shipping, they think they're going to make it. We didn't sell anything, and it was getting to the point where we were thinking, like, dude, like, what is happening? How are we going to make versus gravity work? Like, I'm sure we would be kind of scrambling around thinking, like I have no idea what to do. Maybe this dream can't happen after all. And yeah, now it's just not.
Honestly, like even like literally what Sam's just said there is so true. Like there were times before we started, obviously, when we released that beginner course, there were times when literally I was sitting there thinking, what am I actually doing? Like I had episodes of being like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like, you know, because I left my job to do this full time. So I had those moments of questioning. Nowadays, I mean, Sam and I, we met up yesterday. Every single day, we're just like, we're gonna break it now. Like that's awesome. We're gonna make it now, and it's with certainty. We don't ever approach any day now without any motivation. So even from aside from the financials, obviously we've done much better in the last 2 months. We'll talk about that in a second with like what's coming up. But from our mentality, the work ethic that we've put in over the last 2 months has been insane. Wow. It's been absolutely insane.
And we've been recognized for that as well, right?
Yeah. Like one thing I keep saying to Sam, this is it, maybe we sound like we're up ourselves, but to be honest, I think it's true. Like we're hot shit right now in the UK calisthenics space. That's like awesome. Every time, you know, we're speaking to people want to collaborate with us.
That's
which is
so
nuts.
good.
Everyone didn't know us 2 months ago. Now everyone wants to know us, which is sick. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we've got 3 companies that want to partner with us, and these are like good companies within the space. We've made, honestly, the best thing from all of this is the connections we've made, because we've been so dedicated. And Issa knows I love using the sentence, as real recognized as real. Other people in the space who on paper have way more followers than us, they've achieved way more in their calisthenics career, they've achieved way more in their business career. They actually don't even benefit necessarily from collabing with us on our podcasts or on our social media page. But generally, I feel like because they've recognized our work ethic and the amount of value that we're giving, they can see that our ship is about to sail. And I feel like everyone right now, they're almost getting a bit of FOMO. They're like, fuck, if I don't get in with these guys, then I can utilize them to promote myself. And yes, it's honestly, it's just the people we've met, the conversations we are having now is not the same conversations we were having five months ago. It's like, how do we sell a $50 program? It was very narrow-minded. Nowadays, it's literally, we're about to meet with the CEO of a multi-million-pound company to talk about how we can strategize the growth of calisthenics and both of our careers going forwards. So it's literally night and day difference.
Love that. That's awesome. That's so good to hear. And you guys absolutely deserve it. I remember chatting to you boys for the first time and even getting to work straight away. I hadn't quite yet encountered, working with guys like you, in the sense that straight after a session together, you boys immediately got to work, like got on a call straight after and did the work. And I think you boys absolutely deserve all the results that you're getting now, like 100%. Yeah.
It's thanks to you, mate, for sure. Like you definitely opened up our perception on how the industry actually works. But not only that, at its core, you've redefined what sales is to a certain extent. Like that's what it is. You're in the game of selling. You're not in the game of being a coach. You're not in the game of making programs. You're in the game of doing sales. And it's fun. And selling yourself as a brand, selling your product, selling your concept, selling your ideas. That's the key.
I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, like it comes across in everything you do. Like even in organic content, as you said, you're selling that follow button, right? There's always something for you to be convincing someone to do. And I think it's making that transition from just doing it for fun and as a hobby to there's a real intention behind why we do certain things. So I think that's really cool. If you guys were to kind of put it down to one thing in particular, what would you say has attributed this night and day difference in your results? Like whether it's something that you guys have adopted yourself or from the program working together, or even anything in passing, a sentence or two. What has been the number one thing that's changed your situation for you guys in 2 months?
So from my perspective, like I said it before, it really has been the mentality change that you've given us. It's shying away from underselling ourselves, undervaluing ourselves just because we don't have a big, following that some of these guys do. And actually thinking, well, what, looking at it on paper and saying, what do we actually offer? What is it that we can offer? Like Sam and I have sat here, we've actually said multiple times, we're very fortunate because of the upbringing that we've had and because of the opportunities that we've had in life that some of these guys actually haven't had. So when you mentioned, we got to work straight away, that's because it's literally ingrained in us to do it, right? Like hard work comes easy to me and Sam. We went to uni together, we know that. And I think for me, it was that key moment. It's that same sentence, the one that you said about the Tesla and the Toyota, right? At the end of the day, you gotta, if you wanna make the big bucks, then you've got to act like you deserve the big bucks.
Yeah.
And not only just that, but obviously you can't cheat people, right? If you're worth shit, then no one's gonna, people will see through you eventually. But the thing is genuinely, Sam and I now believe that we are worth $1 million and we can actually do it. And that's been the biggest driver. Because like now waking up, working at, we jumped on this call with you, for us, it was 6 a.m. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think if I can add to that from my perspective, something which I guess is more actionable, it's literally just having the roadmap lined out for you. It's you have your initial call with you guys that this is what you're going to be doing for the next 30 to 90 days. And then what that allows you is it just allows you to just follow a plan and give 110% to one specific thing. It'd be like turning up to football or soccer training, whatever you want to call it. And like when you're in school and you go to PE classes and it's just, there's no real structure to it. You don't get good at football if you're just effing about. Whereas when you go to an actual football class, like, no, we're going to be doing drills. This is what we're going to be doing for the next 3 months. I want to get you to this specific stage. And it allows you to just give 110% focus because you've paid a decent amount of money for this coach, right? You're putting your trust in them. If you're not going to trust them, why are you buying it in the first place? And also, this is another beautiful thing about the high ticket sales is that you tend to get good clients because the number one method of accountability is the fact that they've paid a decent amount of money. For us, that was, I mean, I'd never paid anything like that before in my life. So that's why when we threw ourselves into it, it's like, I'm not going to waste this money. I'm going to fucking give it 110%. Because then the people that'll say, oh, this course was shit, whatever, it's like, dude, it's just because you didn't put the effort in. I'll be honest. It's got nothing to do with, and we see that with our clients because they pay good amounts of money to us. They're dedicated, like they love it, and they love the accountability aspect. They literally like, I want to start tomorrow. Like they're almost too eager that we have to say, dude, calm down. Like you might be injured or whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. That's cool. Speaking of your clients, now tell us a little bit about the kind of offer you're running these days. What kind of price point it's selling? What kind of results have you guys seen in the first week? I know the other week as well, you guys had a really, really nice start to the year. Tell us a little bit about those things.
Yeah, so the price point that we're at sits around like $2,500 to $3,000. And obviously, depending on whether we're running a cycle or not, then we'll discount that. Some of the guys we offer a monthly payment to because it's more feasible for them, and we genuinely believe that they're going to be good clients. And to be honest, we've never had a problem with people not paying. Because like Sam said, right, as soon as you're investing that amount of money, I mean, even if you split the 2,500, 3,000 over a 3-month period or 4-month period, that's still a lot of money to pay per month. So people are still going to be invested in it and they take it seriously. And you mentioned, we had a good week the other week. First week of January, we hit 3 sales in a day, which was insane.
That's awesome. 100% close rate at 2.5, 3K. That's amazing. Yeah,
so it was in terms of the clients that we're attracting, like Sam said, they're so dedicated. They're easy to work with because at the end of the day, they commit so much money, they're not going to mess around. Yeah.
So your guys' program, it's a 12-week calisthenics program. What kind of stuff are you guys offering? You don't have to give away all the secrets of the sauce, but also a little bit about now just kind of the things you're offering compared to before.
So I mean, all we were offering before was just me, right? It was just me because Sam before was in a full-time job. So before it was just me, it was just, me talking to the guys on a weekly basis, writing their program, sending them on their way, helping them with that, not even giving them video tutorials until like a later on stage. Now you've got, I won't give away everything, but we've got 5 specialists in the team, all of which who provide a different angle. So one angle that I can give is obviously we've got a nutritionist. That the fact that we can add that into the program, a lot of people know, right? Fitness is not just about going to the gym, it's also about what you put in your stomach.
100%.
The fact that we can offer that, and you got to remember, right? Most people come, even though we sell a calisthenics program, most of the people that come to us have the number one goal of getting shredded. That's the number one goal. So it doesn't even matter what training method we use, calisthenics, weightlifting, powerlifting, it doesn't matter. The key thing is making sure that whatever they're doing outside of training is consistent. And because of the high ticket offering, because like you said earlier, we can pack $10,000 worth of value into $2,000 or $3,000 program, we can now offer that sort of specialist. And like we said, that's just one of 3 that we offer.
That's
and
awesome.
I'd say that another beauty, so actually we met with our nutritionist yesterday for the first time in person. And the beautiful thing about this is that obviously when you find these people, right, your business pitch is, hey dude, I'm going to be giving you leads. That's it. So it's I find it hard to think that most kind of outsourced coaches are going to say no to it.
Yeah.
When you develop a good enough relationship for them, you should be getting into the position where they're sending you leads. And this is ultimately what we want to do, and this is how we want to go. Kind of with your model, right? You work with us, and then we can get you leads. And this is the beauty of this: is that you build a network with this product, and this network, you're with other hungry young individuals, or not necessarily young, but everything it's like the best product, because you're liaising with people who can give you a lot of their time, energy, and money. Whereas if you're just selling a $77 program, what are the chances of someone who's bought your program? He's like, by the way, dude, I've got a really good business idea, and this business idea can be really invaluable for you. It's just like, that's never going to happen. Whereas working with a coach who's now going to give you, and I think you need to be strategic about it, right? Find people that hang out in nice areas, go to nice gyms, have an expensive clientele. If they like you and they like the service that they provide, and you're giving them all their leads, they kind of feel like, oh fuck, I feel like I need to give something back to these guys. Here you go, here's some leads. I've got some people that have come for nutrition training, but they're not in great shape, so you train them up.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's cool, guys. That's really cool. Before we chat about any kind of advice that you want to give to other people in a similar position, I mean, if they're fitness coaches, if they're fitness influencers, I want to chat a little bit about the kind of plans that you guys have coming up. I know you've been alluding to a few things, any type of business collaborations, your plans for continuing your growth, continuing to scale the business. What's on the agenda?
So like Sam said right at the start, there's 3 big businesses that we're working with at the moment, and hopefully those will develop into not just like, we're not talking about sponsorships, right? We're in the game of building our own brand. And that's something that we've been upfront with and honest with from the start. There's so many people in the fitness industry who just get sponsorship from MyProtein or Gymshark or whatever, and that's it. And to be honest, I think that's boring, right? Like, why would you want to be sponsored by a different brand when you can build your own? Like that's what we're premised on, right?
That's it.
Yeah, so those 3 partnerships that are developing right now are massive. One of them, they dominate the UK space for producing calisthenics equipment. There's literally no other company that does as well as they are in calisthenics in the UK. The other one, they do ice baths, which is pretty cool. And Sam and I are massively into biohacking, so that's right up our street. And another one is actually a coffee company, which is interesting because they haven't broken into the fitness industry, and they're interested in kind of piggybacking off of us to break in. So yeah, it's very, very exciting times.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Yeah, nice going there with that. I'm really interested to chat a little bit about AI, right? It's a huge topic right now for so many people. I'm curious, I know, Sam, you're into AI. What plans do you guys have to be able to incorporate AI into scaling your business, operating it more efficiently, more quickly? What's your plans for AI?
Mate, I'll be honest. So I've heard a lot about it and I've used a few tools. I've never really had the time to actually sit down and know what's capable of being done now. I know that I don't think I don't think people are ready. I genuinely don't think that 99% of people, even in like developing countries or not developing, like first world countries, have an idea as to how this is just going to revolutionize everything. It's got to the point now where even that they've developed an AI system where, so I'm looking here because my camera's broken. I'm looking up. The AI system will bring you, like, it looks like you're looking into the camera. So you can now be reading off a script in your pictures, and your eyes will be looking into the camera. So it looks like you're not reading off a script. So even that's something that you can implement on your sales calls, right? You can just be reading off the script, but everything's going to be automated apart from your services itself. And even then, I don't necessarily think that's true, because we've got tools now where you record yourself for 10 minutes talking, and then you write, it's the text to speech, right? And it mimics your voice. It'll mimic your video. So it could be the point where instead of sending people sitting down for 15 minutes and chatting with them, you send them a 15-minute summary of their workouts that they've messaged you, and you've taken their message, putting it into Chat GPT or something. Say, write me a reply text. Then you take the text, put it into a text to speech, and then a text to image, and then everything's just done for you. So I actually think, basically, going forwards, for the people that are clued up and are smart about it and utilize it first, because I think the end user won't even realize that it's AI.
That's right.
So that's why we're in the fortunate position where you need to get on it now. 5 years time, there'll be a real distinction between this is an AI generated thing and a human thing. And people may say, like, fuck the AI thing, I want the human thing. In the next year or two, people aren't going to be able to distinguish. So that's why the money needs to be made, like, right now.
Right. Yeah,
you need to get searching.
Yeah, and I've even been experimenting too when it comes to creating really great viral content. And without giving away too much, a lot of our strategies are based on not only being able to identify what's trending, but also being able to replicate that kind of content with your unique style, and that's how you go viral. But I've been using AI to do this as well, and I did this with a client recently where we literally looked in his niche, totally irrelevant to like calisthenics. We looked at the top performing videos in the last little while, and we looked at the kind of captions, the topics that it was about. We went into ChatGPT and just said, write me 5 viral variations of this ... And there it was. And then bang, spat out amazing type of topics, slightly different from each one, that he could then go away and create a whole new video. Now, here's the catch: is a lot of people just stop there and like, okay, cool, let me try and film a video out of this. We just wanted to be as lazy as possible, and so we just took the best few titles and we're like, script me a short 30-second video using this title, bang. And then just like that, had the script. Some people like having a full script, some people want like dot points, but it's insane. Like, it'll write out your videos for you. It'll script your most viral content. It's absolutely amazing. So I think, being able to implement AI into your business is really important. And you guys are lucky too, because I do so much research on this. I'm writing modules like crazy on how, as like fitness coaches, you guys can be utilizing AI, different like AI recipes. Use this app for this, then take it into this app, then this app. So all these modules are going to be flying your way, and it's going to be absolutely insane to dig into. But, well, that's for another time. But that's all sick. I want to know, to kind of wrap up, if you could give any advice to people in a similar position that, fitness coaches being on the gym floor or trying to run their own low ticket offer and they're just not seeing success on the business side, or maybe they're slowing down on their growth, what's the number one bit of advice that you guys can give to them?
You need to do something drastically different, because if it hasn't been working for the last few months or year, what are the chances that suddenly it's all just going to pick up and start working? It's not. If it's not working for you right now, it's because you're doing something wrong. Because even if you could argue, I could use the argument, we only had 4,000 followers, so by the time we have 400,000, we'll start selling it. It's just like, well, that's not really true. That's not how it is. It doesn't really work when you just extrapolate it on a larger data set with this stuff. Whereas what I could say now is, if we had 400,000 subs now, we'd be making a shitload of money, because our model has been proven to work. So I would say definitely go with it. I think high ticket sales is the way forward, especially for people who kind of don't have that following right now. if you already have 1 million and you have devoted fans, the thing is, then you can still do high ticket sales, because then you can
Right.
set up courses just $20,000 and you fly them out to Bali for 2 weeks. You teach them a load of stuff. You bring in all the experts and you make shit. You do that 2 times a year and you make 100 grand. So
Yes.
regardless of the following, high ticket sales is the way, because also you learn the most fundamental skill in business, which is sales and networking. And those two is what's going to enable you to then go into other business ventures. I guarantee you now, in 2-3 years' time, we could sell versus gravity and go into real estate or whatever, because now we've learned the art of selling ourselves, selling an idea. So I'd say 100% go for it.
Solid advice. Thanks, Tim.
I think the thing that I would say, and I said this to Sam yesterday, I think I said this to, God, I don't know, God knows how many people I've said this to. Said it to actually one of our clients who we're coaching right now on how to build his own social media thing with, as part of our program. The one thing that really sticks out to me is, if you want to make money, be prepared and be willing to spend money. And you can see this across every rich multimillionaire person, right? You can't be, if you want to be rich, then you've got to act like you're rich. And that means not being afraid to invest in yourself. So picking up a course or picking up a program like we did with you, right? It was a no-brainer for us, because we realized, like Sam said, we were doing something wrong. And the only way that we were going to be able to actually fix it is if we had a dedicated strategy, whereby we wouldn't be, faffing around doing all sorts of other stuff. The great thing about working with you is we had a plan, and we weren't going to mess around on it, because we spent, we spent money on it. So we were serious about it. And that's the thing I say to everyone now. It's like, if you're going to get into business and you want to make money, you need to put money in first. You got to be willing and prepared to lose, not even lose money, but invest money into certain things if you want to see them grow.
If I can add one point to that, which is something that we've been talking about at length with this one, is that throughout your whole life, you seek mentors, whether you think about it or not. You go to school, that's a mentor. You go through basically 18 years of education. You have a mentor for each different subject. You're essentially paying for that as well, although it's not coming directly out of your pocket. You're paying for that service. Without that, you'd be effed. You'd never amount to anything. You learn how to drive. What do? You get a mentor. You want to learn how to play football on the side. You get a mentor. Why is it that suddenly when people finish university or you go into a job, you get a mentor who's going to teach you? But then when it comes to stuff that's kind of not necessarily required to be a functioning citizen, such as learning how to drive, doing all these things, stuff such as learning how to grow your own online business, how to get in shape, all these things. Why don't people get mentors? There's a cognitive dissonance in that sense. Look at your life. You've had a mentor for every single stage. You wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for mentors, and you've paid for those mentors in one way or another. So it only makes sense that if you want to achieve the same kind of results as you have literally throughout your whole life, get a mentor. It's literally the most simple way. And it's right, as I said, you've got to spend money to make money. Now, if we wanted to go into real estate, do you think I'm going to sit there and spend 2 years of my life trying to figure out how to do it? No, I'll just pay a mentor, but dude, just teach me how to do this stuff.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah, what an insight. Thanks for that. Man, awesome. Boys, this has been an absolutely incredible session. Really nice to sit down. I learned a couple of things about you guys that I didn't know before, which is really cool. To end off, is there any final notes you want to say? Where can people find you guys?
Quite honestly, everywhere.
Nice.
He's got so find us on Instagram. Are you going to drop the socials in the description, or do you want us to just say them out?
Both, mate. Go for it. Plug away.
All right. So Instagram is at versus.gravity. TikTok is at versus_gravity. YouTube is versus. YouTube is something else. I'll let Sam say that.
Well, no. By the time this comes out, it'll be versus gravity. It's just because we took over my dad's old YouTube channel, so we'll change it to versus gravity.
Nice. Brilliant.
There you go,
boys. Pleasure catching up. Congrats on all your success so far, and wishing you all the best this year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. We owe it to you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.